Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the GRCV Hoops Podcast. In for Gavin Campbell today, I'm Joey Wright, joined by Ricardo Vargas. And Ricardo, today we're going to talk the sort of big picture of the NBA playoffs. They're in full swing. We're in round 2. Let's start in the Western Conference. How do you see some of these second-round matchups playing out this round?
Well, Joey, it's nice to be here talking basketball with you, and I'm just going to be straight honest with you. Like most people know, coming out of the West, it's going to be the Warriors, but I also do think Rockets, they still have a chance, I think. I'm not going to count them out yet, but I do think it's the Warriors coming out on top in the West.
Well, Ricardo, let me stop you right there. You know, all season people have been talking, Houston's this great team. Houston can beat the Warriors. They've got, a fighting chance. And I don't think the Rockets are nearly as good as the Warriors, and I haven't thought that all season. I think a healthy Warriors team, they've got Steph Curry back now. Just the other teams in the West really don't have a chance, and that's just the breakfast, lunch, and dinner of it.
You said it yourself. It's almost unfair. I think, the Rockets are a great team. They had an amazing season, but once, the Warriors, if Curry's not clicking, you have Durant. But like with the Rockets, it's either Chris Paul, James Harden. If they're not going, they're not going to win a game. Yeah. So it's really tough, and, I give credit to the Jazz for, they're putting up a fight, but it is what it is. Those are the two teams. And last episode I was talking with Gavin, and I thought the Pelicans had a chance because that big three, Rondo, Holiday, and Davis, but I got proven wrong.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is a special player, but I don't think he just can't. The Pelicans don't have enough to compete with that big four of Green, Curry, Thompson, and Durant.
It's just way too much, and like myself, and you forget that Curry was a 2-time MVP, and you almost it's just crazy to think that they have so much talent on that team, and it's almost impossible to beat, I think.
Yeah, well, it seems like Curry's star power has faded a little bit this season and lately, but that's just a testament to how good the Warriors are.
Exactly.
Is that a star like Steph Curry can kind of fade and
take a backseat
to what the rest of the team is doing. Exactly. I just don't. I don't see. And I like the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans have a really bright future.
They do.
Anthony Davis is like the definition of franchise player. If you were to look up a cornerstone in the dictionary, you'd see a picture of Anthony Davis. Even though there are no pictures in the dictionary. That's just what kind of player he is. You can build a franchise around him, but
exactly,
they just don't have enough.
No, they don't have enough, and it sucks because DeMarcus Cousins is out. I would have liked to see what they could have done with him on that team in the playoffs. It would have been something to see, and I do think they could have at least taken a game from the Warriors if Cousins were healthy and playing. And then another thing with the Warriors, you gotta think about their bench. Nick Young, Quinn Cook, who has become a great player this season, and the rookie Jordan Bell. They do have way too many pieces, and it's crazy to see.
Yeah, well, you say the Pelicans. The series isn't over. They could still maybe steal a game.
Exactly.
We'll talk about the Spurs a little bit later, and the Spurs were able to take a game from the Warriors. So I think this Pelicans team's good enough to at least play some competitive basketball in this series. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe at home in New Orleans they could take a game.
Yep. The what's their arena called now? Is it still the Smoothie King Center?
Smoothie King Center.
Love that.
That's nice.
Yep. And Ricardo, I want to backtrack a minute back to the Utah Jazz. I love what's going on in Utah right now. A lot of people thought that they'd fade a little bit this season, losing Gordon Hayward. He's now with the Celtics. Will be with the Celtics next year. We wish him speedy recovery. But a lot of people thought that the Jazz would fade this season, wouldn't be quite as good, and they replicated, about what last season was. A pretty good season. Made the playoffs and.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's something incredible to see, and you got to, give most of that credit to the rookie Donovan Mitchell, which has been just incredible seeing him play throughout this whole season. And Ricky Rubio, he wasn't, that big in Minnesota, but I think he really came into his own in Utah, and it's nice to see that.
Yeah, well, the problem with Rubio in Minnesota is that I think the Timberwolves wanted him to become a star cornerstone to build their franchise around, and he was just never that, but, give him a supporting cast and lessen his role a little bit. That's where a player like Ricky Rubio can really shine, and we've seen that in Utah.
Yeah, no, for sure, and it's nice to see that him and Donovan Mitchell, they have good chemistry, because they can both have a big night. And, I like Jay Crowder on that team, former Celtic. It's really nice what they're doing in Utah.
I've always liked Jay Crowder. I like his game. I like how well-rounded he is. Not a star, but a serviceable starter or even sixth man on the right team. And I think the Jazz, it's a team that they really fit him well, and he fits them well.
Exactly. It's nice that Utah has a professional basketball team, a nice state.
Yeah, yes, it is. Natural beauty, Salt Lake City, hosted the Olympics in 2002.
Oh wow! Yeah, you gotta love it. I want to go there one day.
I would. You go out to Colorado every summer, don't you?
Yeah, but I've never
been to Salt Lake City.
Never been to Salt Lake City.
Man,
I gotta make it out there one day.
Man, I tell you, we're going right family vacation this summer out to Colorado.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
so
I like that.
I'm not quite sure how that'll work. I don't, not sure of the itinerary or where we're going, but there's lots to do in Colorado and the surrounding states. Great region of the country.
Definitely a great state.
Absolutely.
A lot of great cities and natural beauty, just like Utah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now back to basketball. Rookie of the Year: Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons. Who do you give it to? It's a fight. A lot of media members and even players, coaches weighing in, saying it could go both ways. How does Ricardo Vargas see the Rookie of the Year race playing out?
I would like to see Donovan Mitchell because I just like him more. He's a more likable character and still, great stats, and like he's leading the Jazz in the West. For a rookie doing that in the West, it's incredible. But Ben Simmons does have the better stats, and I think Ben Simmons going to win it, but I would like to see Donovan Mitchell.
That's the gripe I've always had with the MVP. The Most Valuable Player award doesn't often go to the most valuable player.
Exactly.
It goes to the best player. And I guess we're talking about Rookie of the Year, but it's the same principle. I got my awards mixed up there, but yeah, what Donovan Mitchell has done in Utah is
incredible.
Yeah, the Western Conference is much harder than the East. I think that's everyone can agree on that.
38 points against the Thunder in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Clutch. A lot of rookies get to the playoffs and they fade.
Even Karl Towns,
yeah.
One of the best centers in the league, not a rookie, of course, and, he kind of flaked in the playoffs a little bit.
His first playoff appearance, yeah, absolutely.
So it's really nice to see, but how about you? Who do you think will win the Rookie of the Year?
I think it'll be Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons.
But, yeah, I echo a lot of what you said, is that Mitchell has had a stellar rookie campaign. I mean, he'll be easy first-team All-Rookie.
Yeah.
And a bright future in Utah, yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I think maybe, I don't know. And this is not because I'm a Celtics fan. I think one of the brightest rookies is Jason Tatum, and I think he has the potential to have one of the best career out of all these players in this class because his game is just so polished, and he doesn't even seem like a rookie.
Yeah. Well, Ricardo and all, I'm a Mavericks fan. And how about Dennis Smith Jr.?
Oh, yeah, you can't forget about him. He,
for a while, it looked like he was going to be in that Rookie of the Year race. And obviously the Mavericks weren't good enough to warrant him being in that conversation. But he, for a while, was looking like he was going to put together the best rookie season out of anyone.
Oh, yeah, and just like Tatum, I think he's going to have one of the best careers in that class as well. So athletic and just really talented.
Yep, and the Mavericks in a rebuilding phase. They'll get another high draft pick this June. So it'll be interesting to see who they can put around him. And
maybe a big man. That'd be nice.
Yeah, because Dirk Nowitzki's on the way out. Yeah, he might give us another season or two, but he's old.
Oh no, he is. But let me ask you, what do you think in the East? How do you think that's the way it's shaping up? Who do you think is going to come out of there in these playoffs?
That's a good question, Ricardo, and I think it's going to be the Cavaliers. And I've thought that even since the playoffs. Even before the playoffs began, what we've seen these past few years is this narrative. Each of the last few seasons has played out about the same way, where we see LeBron James struggle in the regular season, goes through his trials and tribulations, and then kind of figures it out come the playoffs. And then we see the headlines. LeBron James leads team to finals, and he doesn't always win them, but it seems like LeBron always overcomes some sort of adversity to get his team there, and I think this would be his greatest act yet.
Yeah, he always finds a way to get his team to the finals. And this year, like these past few years, we've known it's Warriors, Cavs. Yeah. But in the East, I don't know. I think it could be the Cavs in the finals, but it's really tough this year because, the Pacers, they took them to 7 games.
Yeah, the first round, and, I think it'll be the Cavs. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the really the Celtics, Raptors, or Sixers. I think it could go either of those four ways. It's very, very even. But the Cavs aren't a bad team.
They aren't.
The Cavs have quite a few pieces, and I just think playoff LeBron's a different animal. I'm not a LeBron fan per se, but in the playoffs he's tough to stop.
He is, and I think like the other guys have to step up.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance. They're young guys, but they can still produce because I don't think LeBron can do it all on his own this year. And he does have Kevin Love, but I still don't think that's enough. Like,
how many minutes did he end up playing? In Game 7, did he play the whole game against the Pacers? Or
I'm not sure, but I think so. Like I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just I'm not a big LeBron fan. Like I don't really, but I mean, there's no arguing he's a once in a generation talent.
Oh yeah.
People always argue Jordan versus LeBron, who's better, but just that Jordan. Rather, LeBron is in that conversation so often.
Just speaks
for itself. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. No matter who you choose in that debate, the fact that we have it so often is a testament to both players, really.
And he's not even done playing.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I personally think like when he retires, he will be the best player statistically.
Yeah.
With statistics, I think he'll be the best. But
is he already in the top 5 for career points scored, or is he?
I think he's very close. He has over 30,000, but he's only played with 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I know Dirk Nowitzki's climbing up the list. I think he's in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's impressive what he's been able to do.
It really is. I think Dirk is maybe the highest active player, but LeBron is close behind. I can't think of anyone who would have more than Dirk, who's still active.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone. Yeah, 2 legendary players.
Absolutely.
And tell me, who do you think with the 76ers and the Celtics? How do you see that series going?
Oh, gosh. Ricardo, I would like to give the advantage to your Celtics. I just think the Celtics are a little older. Well, actually, the Celtics are younger.
They're pretty young,
but it seems like they have more experience being in these types of situations.
Exactly.
This is the kind of the first year we've seen the Sixers emerge and be a force.
It's scary to see them.
Oh, the Sixers have a really bright future.
Oh my goodness! I think they have one of the brightest futures in the league.
Yeah. I'd like to say maybe only the Timberwolves have a future that's comparably bright to the Sixers. But the thing with the Timberwolves is that they've had a bright future for like about 10 years now, and this is the first time we've seen them in the playoffs. So
exactly, and it's the Timberwolves, like Andrew Wiggins, he's been a little disappointing.
A little bit. Yeah.
But with the 76ers, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and you can't forget about Markelle Fultz. He hasn't played in these playoffs at all, but it's he youngest player to get a triple-double.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Fultz has a bright future. Now, we said we were going to talk about the Spurs a little later. I'll kind of segue into that, having said that I like the Celtics in that series. I heard the Sixers might be considering a trade, and this is hypothetical.
Okay.
That would involve sending Fultz to the Spurs in exchange for Kawhi Leonard.
Wow.
Now, would you do something like that? That's tough.
That's a very tough one.
And, I say, I don't know where I heard that from. I don't know. Reliable source or not. I might have seen it on Facebook. But I think it's an interesting hypothetical question.
Those are always fun.
Would you do Fultz and maybe a pick or another young guy for a player like Kawhi Leonard?
I think I would because those are rumors that Kawhi doesn't want to be in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And if you could get a guy like Markelle Fultz, which we haven't seen too much of, but he seems like he has a lot of potential, I would do it. I would do it.
I think I would too.
And Kawhi would complement the 76ers very well, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could fit into his role very well.
I think Kawhi Leonard, where he's at right now, is about where Fultz's ceiling is. So about maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. So I would say take Kawhi now. It's going to take Fultz a few years to come into his own. So take Kawhi and pair him with a young Embiid and a young Ben Simmons, and I would do that.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Yeah, I would as well, and it would be nice to see. I want to see what type of trades happen.
Yeah,
soon.
I think it'll be an interesting offseason. Looking at free agency,
yeah.
LeBron,
that's always some drama.
Paul George, Russell Westbrook.
I saw there's a rumor like Paul George wants to leave OKC.
Yeah, Melo wants out. We know that. Carmelo's a free agent.
He needs to get out the league.
Man, I think Carmelo Anthony. He's not the Carmelo Anthony we saw in New York 6-7 years ago. But I think he could complement a team nicely. The right team, the right system.
Yeah, like he could, have like a 6-man type of role, just like a spark plug off the bench. But it's just I don't think he's the type of guy who wants to do that. I don't know. That's what it seems like. Yeah, big ego.
Yeah.
And not like Paul George. Paul George seems more like, he'll do whatever it takes for his team to win.
I like Paul George a lot.
Yeah.
I really do. I've liked him since he was a Pacer.
Good, humble guy.
Humble guy. He's recovered, remarkably from that injury he sustained.
Exactly.
In that Olympic trial game or Team USA exhibition game, whatever it was a few years ago. Great player.
No, yeah, he is a great player, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, because they've got that big three that they've assembled. They disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah.
They're all
of people,
loose. Yeah. Where do you see LeBron ending up in free agency?
Man, it all depends on what happens in the playoffs. If they go to the finals, I could see him staying.
Yeah.
But if not, I think he's gone. I don't want him to the Lakers.
That seems to be the hot rumor.
Yeah.
That seems to be where everyone thinks that he would logically end up.
Because
they've got cap room to make something happen. Maybe get him and Westbrook.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they do have the cap room. They have a bright future. The
With
Lakers,
Lonzo Ball,
even without LeBron or nothing, like they still have a bright future. People forget about Julius Randle, but I think he's a great player.
Julius Randle, I mentioned Lonzo Ball, I think Lonzo Ball will be okay.
Yeah.
When all is said and done, I don't think he
gets a bad rap, because of his dad.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he'll be a big baller. I think he'll be an average-sized baller for the Lakers.
Exactly. But 2 more questions before we wrap this up. Who's your MVP for this season? And then who do you see in the finals? And who do you see winning the series?
Well, I'll start with the NBA Finals because I really haven't put that much thought into who my MVP would be. NBA Finals, as I said, I like Cleveland and Golden State. Again. And I think I've got to give it to Golden State there.
Golden State.
Just because I think Golden State's the better team, that Big Four.
Right.
With the struggles that the Cavs have had, and I don't think LeBron can lead them past Golden State alone. So I would say Golden State over Cleveland. But, I say that with a grain of salt. I'm pretty set on my prediction for Golden State in the West. But, if the Raptors, the Celtics, or the Sixers were to win the East, it would not totally surprise me. So I mean,
understandable.
But either way, I think it'll be Golden State raising the trophy in June.
But do you think that if it's Cleveland and Golden State, do you see Cleveland winning at least a game?
Oh, I think Cleveland could win a game, maybe 2. I think it would be an okay series. I think anyone. I don't think Golden State could just easily sweep any of these teams left. But I think they will win the title pretty easily nonetheless.
Okay.
And now for MVP, gosh, this is tough. Because,
it's a tough one, yeah, it is.
It seems like it's just been such a balanced season.
And we go back to the debate, who gets it, the best player on the best team, or
the most valuable player.
Most valuable player, statistically the best player.
Yep. And that's the gripe I've always had with the award itself, is because it seems like it's the best player award, which I don't have a problem with. Just call it the best player award.
Exactly, because
something like that.
Last year it could have been James Harden who wins it. The Rockets were better, but Russell Westbrook got it.
Yep. So yeah, it's tough, and I didn't follow the NBA in the regular season as closely as I have in years past, so I don't.
Because Russell Westbrook, he averaged a triple-double as well this season.
Yep.
James Harden, he had an amazing season, and his team did fantastic. But then, you got to look at LeBron as well. You take away LeBron from the Cavs, and
they're nothing. Yeah, I think that's what makes LeBron a compelling candidate for the award. And I really can't, I don't. Harden and Westbrook haven't stuck out to me enough for me to go a different direction. So I would say LeBron James, but that's
LeBron James.
That's kind of an uneducated opinion.
It is still a fair one. Yeah, still a fair one.
But I say that because you look at what the Cavs struggled mightily all season long, even with LeBron James. So you take him out of the equation, and they don't make the playoffs.
No,
it was borderline for a while as to whether they would make the playoffs or not.
Exactly.
with the greatest player on the planet. I mean, so.
Exactly. No, I have to agree with you on that one. You know, I think they're going to give it to James Harden because of the season the Rockets had, and the numbers he put up were pretty incredible as well.
Absolutely. So as we get set to wrap things up on the GRCV Hoops podcast, I think I've learned what this is called because it's so hard with both of you guys' initials. Anything you want to say to Gavin Campbell, who's out today?
Well, no, I just hope his Raptors can put up a fight against the Cavs, and hope to see him next week here. But it was fun talking to you here. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and I want to say to Gavin, man, take all the time off you want because this has been pretty fun.
This has
coming in and talking some basketball with you, Ricardo.
Yeah, a good time. You know, it's always a good time.
Always a pleasure. So as we close down shop on the GRCV podcast, make sure that you follow along. The NBA playoffs continue in full swing all May and most of June long.
Yes, sir. You know, and we'll be here. Just follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and just tune in, give us some feedback, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. For Ricardo Vargas, I'm Joey Wright. Thanks for listening to this edition of the GRVC Hoops podcast. Man, that's fun to say.